This is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
This is how we do it.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of This Is How I Do It. I am the IT Beast, and we're going to be going over the extending of the system partition on a Windows Home Server 2011, or I should really put it based on the Server 2011 OS, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. Alright, as the module states in the title, we'll be covering the extending of the system partition of Home Server 2011, also its variants, and it can be done on both physical and virtualized hardware. Alright, the prereqs are pretty simple. You just need one of the aforementioned home server variants of 2011. And if you just want to learn how to extend or shrink a volume on a Windows operating system, you just need at least Windows Vista or Server 2008 and up. Unfortunately, 2003 below and XP and below do not naturally have that capability built in. And you will learn as to the reason why we will have to extend the system partition. Let's go over to the desktop. Alright, so now let's go ahead and demonstrate how to extend your system partition. So we are going to right click and we're going to hit on Manage. Alright, as you can see, the MMC has popped up and is showing us that we have a new drive to install. What I've done for this demonstration, this will apply whether you do it physically or virtually, is I added a second drive in there because the way I want to do this is where basically everything that is on this current D partition will be on here. However, I can't really move it right now because I want to get the lettering to where it uses the D notation and not like F, G, or H. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to go ahead, before we do anything else, we'll click OK for now. Now where it says member, that's what you choose if your drive, partition, whatnot is 2 terabytes or below. And then GPT is if it's 2 terabytes or above. So if you put in a 3 gig, 4 gig, if you're using UEFI, then you use GPT to format the disk. But we're going to hit OK for now. Alright, so we're going to leave this for a minute. We're going to shrink that. Going to open up our Windows Explorer. Look at the local disk. We'll go to server folders. Okay, so what is now D has all the different initial share folders that Home Server automatically delegates out when it installs. As I've said before, with Home Server 2011, it pretty much does its own thing. You don't have any control of how big the drive is going to be, how big your system partition is going to be. It automatically just goes ahead, configure 60 gigs for the system partition, and then what's ever left over will be your what I call the data partition. And in this case, it's only 100 gigs because, or I think it's 190 gigs, because it's using the same partition. Now, the problem with this, especially nowadays, back when 2011 first came out, maybe not so much, but nowadays with all the patches and everything goes onto it, and then if you want to put different applications, that 60 gigs is going to run out quick. As it is, if we already used 35 out of the 60, so it's only got less than 24 to go, and then like I said, down the road you're going to have more updates, especially since this is an older operating system. And if you want to install like SQL or WSUS or a few other things, you really are not going to have the room to do it on this system partition. And the best way to fix that is right after you've installed home server, because if you do it later down the road and you've already set up your data folders and stuff, it's just going to be near impossible, or it'll take days to do it. So the best time to do it is now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and open our dashboard. Now, some of you salty admins out there, well, why can't I just go ahead and delete the shares and set them up somewhere else? Well, because the way they've done it with home server is that if you do it the normal way, you'll break it. So the best way to do it is by using the dashboard as far as moving your share folders. You're going to choose this option here, server folders and hard drives. You will right click on each of the folders. In this case, what we're going to do, since no data is in them, we're going to temporarily move them to the C drive. And then you'll hit next after you read the getting started. Now, if there was other drives present, it would give you different suggestions of where to put the folders at. But in this case, we only have the one at this time. So we'll click on highlight that, and then you're going to click on move folder. Okay, you'll see the warning triangle because it's telling you, hey, you're going to be moving this stuff to a really small space and it's going to fill quick. Well, we're not going to worry about that. You can safely ignore because this is only temporary. Then you hit next, and voila, it is moved over. Now you must repeat that same step with the last 5 of these folders. Alright, as you can see now, your location for these folders are now C. The software has gone ahead and moved them for you. Don't have to do any pre-selected shares or whatnot. It's all done. So we're going to go ahead and momentarily shrink this down. And we're now going to go back to our MMC snap, which has the storage for the server manager. See, disk management. Okay, so now you know there's nothing left on here. So we've verified all data is gone. So what we're going to do next here is we're going to delete the volume and click next. I'm sorry, click yes. All right, so now that is all unlocated space. Now what's nice, what Microsoft did starting with Server 2008 and Windows Vista, they added it to where you can extend or shrink your different drives to a certain limit. You got to do it a certain way or it just doesn't work. Hence the reason why I had to go ahead and make this unlocated space, because of the way the whole thing works. And with home server, the reason why we have to end up doing this, as I said before, because of the install will automatically just create the 60 gigabytes, and there's nothing you can do about that until now. So what we're going to do next, we're going to right click on the C drive. It gives us an option. We can either extend or shrink the volume. In this case, we're going to extend. You can't really shrink it too much more than it already is. But in this case, we're going to extend. Then you'll get this nice little wizard, and you'll hit next. Now, depending on how you want to do this, you can either say, I wanted to give half of what space is unlocated towards increasing the drive, or you can use all of it. As you can see, maximum available is right here, and then the selected amount. I'm going to go ahead and do the whole selected amount. I truly believe when building a home server, you should have your system partition on the one drive and your data on a completely different drive. So I'm going to go ahead and click next and just make this one big system partition for the drive. And then you click finish. And then voila, your system drive is now 250 gigs because we took all that unallocated space and we just added it to our C drive. All right, so that means now we can go to this one. Remember our new drive? We'll right click on that and we're going to create a new simple volume and click next. I'm going to go ahead and use all 1 terabyte. Again, if you want to split into different partitions, you can. That is totally your choice. But we're just going to go ahead and stick with the default. Okay, so remember that D drive designation that I wanted? There you go. Since I've already deleted that second unallocated partition, it now automatically will be the next drive up to be used. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit next. Alright, so it's giving you the usual default options. I'm going to go ahead and change it to data drive for the volume. You can leave a new drive if you want. It really doesn't matter, I guess, at the end of the day, but for me, sorry, data volume. Meant data drive. Okay. And we're just going to leave it up to form a quick format. If you do the other one, it takes forever to do, and it's just a total waste of time. So I always leave that checked. And then you can just leave everything else default. NTFS, and then default, hit next. It says here, enable file forward compression. Do not click on this because later down the road this can cause you problems. So never compress your folders. Hit next. Alright, so as you can see, we're finished. And just click the finish button, and then this should come up. And yep, there you go. So now we've done that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the dashboard. And what we originally did for putting all the folders in C, we're going to put them back on the new and improved D drive. So once again, you just do a right click, move folder, next, highlight the selected drive. And again, if you have different partitions or more than one drive, you'll see them listed as well. And click on move folder. And you see close. You notice you didn't get the warning triangle because the drives had sufficient space to where it wasn't worried about it. So you'll do the next same thing again with all 5 of these folders. And as you can see, everything is now on the new improved D drive. And if you want to verify this, alright, as you can see, everything is now on the new improved D drive. And if we want to verify that, hit your Windows Explorer, click on the data drive, and then there you go. See, all the folders are now moved to that. So all your shared drives that you'll be publishing will now be stored on this D drive. And that is it. I hope you learned a lot from this. This is IT Beast, and I will hopefully see you on my very next episode. Thank you for joining me.